Have you ever wondered about the health risks associated with eating raw oysters? This seemingly simple question ushers us into the world of raw oysters, a delicacy that has captured the palates of many gourmands worldwide. It's a world filled with rich flavors, unique textures, and centuries-old traditions, yet it's one that also harbors a shadow of potential health risks. Raw oysters have a long-standing history as a much-loved delicacy. They are celebrated for their briny oceanic flavors and their distinctly smooth, almost creamy texture. Eaten straight from the shell with just a squeeze of lemon or perhaps a dash of hot sauce, they offer a taste experience that is quite unlike any other. From high-end restaurants to casual seaside shacks, raw oysters are an indulgence enjoyed by many. But as we relish this delicacy, it's worth pausing to consider a question that often lurks in the background. Are there health risks associated with eating raw oysters? The truth is, like many foods, raw oysters come with their own set of potential health concerns. While they are lauded for their taste, the fact remains that oysters are filter feeders. This means they draw in water from their surroundings and filter out the nutrients to feed themselves. But in doing so, they can also accumulate harmful bacteria and viruses present in the water. And when these oysters are consumed raw, these potentially harmful microorganisms are ingested as well. It's a curious paradox, isn't it? A food that is so treasured for its taste, yet one that carries potential health risks. But fear not, for it's not all gloom and doom. The risks can be mitigated, and we can still enjoy this delectable seafood safely. So, what are these potential risks? How can we protect ourselves while still enjoying our favorite briny treat? Is there a safer way to enjoy oysters, or should we be thinking about alternatives? There's a lot to explore, a lot to understand. So, stay tuned as we delve deeper into the intriguing world of raw oysters, their hidden dangers, and the ways to enjoy them safely. So, what are these potential risks? Stay tuned to find out. Raw oysters, while delicious, can sometimes be a hotbed for bacteria and viruses. Let's delve into the specifics. One of the most common bacteria found in raw oysters is Vibrio vulnificus. This bacterium thrives in warm, brackish water where oysters live and feed. When consumed, Vibrio vulnificus can cause a severe and potentially life-threatening illness known as vibriosis. Symptoms can range from vomiting and diarrhea to more severe complications like bloodstream infections and blistering skin lesions. In severe cases, vibriosis can lead to limb amputation or even death, particularly in individuals with weakened immune systems. Another concern is norovirus, a highly contagious virus that causes inflammation of the stomach and intestines or gastroenteritis in humans. This virus can easily contaminate oysters in the water they inhabit. If you've ever had a sudden onset of vomiting and diarrhea, you've likely been visited by the unwelcome guest that is norovirus. Now, while these dangers sound alarming, it's important to remember that not every raw oyster is going to carry these risks. The presence of these harmful agents largely depends on the water conditions where the oysters are harvested. But what about hepatitis A, you ask? Yes, this viral liver disease can also be transmitted through raw or undercooked shellfish, like oysters. The disease can lead to symptoms ranging from mild illness lasting a few weeks to a severe illness lasting several months. It's not a pleasant experience, to say the least, and let's not overlook the potential for allergic reactions. Shellfish allergies are one of the most common food allergies, and reactions can range from mild symptoms like hives and itching to severe and potentially life-threatening anaphylaxis. So it's clear that while raw oysters can be a culinary delight, they can also carry some significant health risks. But don't lose hope, oyster lovers, there's more to the story. Not all raw oysters carry the same level of risk. This statement is as intriguing as it is true. Various factors can influence the risk associated with consuming raw oysters, and we're going to delve into some of those now. Let's start with the water, where the oysters are harvested. Oysters are filter feeders, which means they consume by sifting the water around them. If this water is polluted with harmful bacteria or toxins, the oysters may ingest these contaminants, posing potential health risks to those who consume them. Therefore, oysters harvested from clean, unpolluted waters are generally safer to eat. Moving on, the time of year can also play a significant role in determining the risk factor. Many of you might have heard of the old saying, "Only eat oysters in months with an R." This isn't just an old wives' tale. Warmer months, typically those without an R in their name, encourage the growth of bacteria, including Vibrio, a common culprit in oyster-related illnesses. So opting for oysters during colder months can reduce the risk. Lastly, let's talk about the individual's health status. Certain groups of people are more vulnerable to the potential risks of eating raw oysters. These include the elderly, pregnant women, young children, and those with weakened immune systems or certain chronic illnesses. For these individuals, the consequences of an infection can be more severe, thus making the consumption of raw oysters riskier. In essence, the risk associated with eating raw oysters is not a fixed entity. It can fluctuate based on where the oyster comes from, when it's consumed, and who is consuming it. Being aware of these factors doesn't mean you need to give up on the delight of slurping down a raw oyster. Instead, it equips you with the knowledge to make more informed, safer choices when indulging in this delicacy. Knowing these factors can help you make safer choices when indulging in this delicacy. After all, understanding risk is the first step towards managing it. Stay tuned as we explore safer alternatives in the next scene. There are ways to enjoy oysters without the risk of foodborne illness. Let's delve into some of these safer alternatives. You don't have to give up on your love for oysters completely, you just need to be a little more cautious and selective. Firstly, consider cooked oysters. While the allure of raw oysters lies in their briny freshness and unique texture, cooking oysters can be a delightful culinary adventure as well. Grilled, roasted, or baked oysters can offer a different yet equally tantalizing flavor profile. And here's the best part: proper cooking can kill most, if not all, harmful bacteria and viruses that might be present. Remember, it's all about the heat. Bacteria and viruses are heat sensitive, and cooking at high temperatures can effectively eliminate these pathogens. However, it's crucial to ensure that the oysters are cooked thoroughly. Any undercooked areas could still harbor harmful microorganisms. Next, let's talk about the source of your oysters. Like any other food, the safety of oysters can significantly depend on where and how they are harvested. Reputable sources often have stringent safety measures in place to minimize the risk of contamination. They regularly monitor the water quality, follow strict harvesting guidelines, and ensure proper handling and storage of the oysters. So, when buying oysters, do a little research. Find out where the oysters are from, how they are harvested, and whether the supplier follows safety standards. You might also want to consider the time of the year. Traditionally, oysters are safest to eat in months with the letter R, from September to April. This is because oysters spawn in the warmer months, which can affect their taste and safety. Lastly, remember that everyone's immune system is different. If you're someone with a compromised immune system, pregnant, elderly, or very young, you might want to be extra cautious and stick to thoroughly cooked oysters. So you see, you can still enjoy your favorite seafood without the worry. In conclusion, while there are risks associated with eating raw oysters, there are also ways to mitigate these risks. We've taken a journey today, exploring the delights and dangers of indulging in raw oysters, a delicacy enjoyed by many around the globe. We delved into the hidden hazards that lurk within these bivalve mollusks, from bacterial infections to the potential for serious foodborne illnesses like vibriosis. But it's not all doom and gloom. We also discovered that these risks are not set in stone. They can be influenced by a variety of factors, such as the waters where the oysters are harvested, the time of the year, and even how the oysters are handled and stored. We've learned that the freshest oysters harvested from clean cold waters and properly refrigerated carry the least risk, but it's also important to note that even the freshest oysters can still harbor some risks, especially for those with weakened immune systems or chronic illnesses. In light of these potential risks, we explored safer alternatives for those who love the taste of oysters but want to avoid the dangers. Cooking oysters thoroughly, whether by grilling, baking, or frying, can kill off harmful bacteria and viruses, making them a safer choice. But as with most things in life, the key here is informed decision-making. Understanding the risks and rewards of eating raw oysters allows you to make a decision that best suits your personal health and preferences. So as we wrap up our exploration of raw oysters, let's remember that it's not about fear, but about understanding and awareness. It's about knowing what's on our plates and making choices that align with our lifestyle and health needs. So the next time you're about to slurp down that raw oyster, remember what you've learned today. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Find more intriguing topics in our playlist. Your comments are always welcome.